In part 1, we did an overview of our goals and how to achieve them. Part 2, we did a full body exercises. Part 3, we did our back exercises. Part 4, we've done our chest exercises. And now the day that we shall not skip, our top 5 favorite leg exercises. The anatomy of our legs is going to be simplified in this situation. We're not going to go into the intricate, tiny little muscles within the muscle groups. First off, on the front of our legs, we have our quadriceps. Now that actually is 4 muscles that make up the one muscle group, but what it focuses on is extending our knee. Also on the front of our leg, we have our anterior tibialis, which is on the front of our shin. So actually it's more about how to lift our foot up and decrease the angle of our ankle. Now at the back of the legs, we've got 3 different muscle groups. The big, nice important one is our glutes. Our glutes are super strong. It's made up of 3 different muscles. We've got maximus, medius, and minimus, which is just big, medium, and small, and they're on different parts of our hip. Our glutes are in charge of extending and squeezing our hip all the way straight. They're probably the strongest muscle on our entire body. Our glutes are also in charge of helping keep our knee outwards or rotating our knee out towards the side. The back of our legs, we have our hamstrings, which attach again up into our hip and also down onto our tibia so that it can flex our knee. On the lower part of our leg, on the back of our shin, is the gastrocnemius and soleus, which is our calf muscle made up of 2 different muscles. They help with bending our knee, but also extend and straighten out our foot. And the last muscle group, which some people aren't aware of, are the adductors, which are on the inside of our legs, which focus on driving our knees together and contracting and helping stabilize our hip. Right now, with the anatomy covered, let's get into our first exercise. Our first exercise is a little bit of a shift on a Romanian deadlift, an RDL, but my favorite version of it is a B stance. A B stance RDL is where you've actually shifted your feet slightly so that it's slightly off center. One leg is more dominantly used than the other. We are pushing our hips backwards and putting tension into our hamstrings and glutes. That's what we're mainly working with this exercise. Try and keep your lower back straight and only flex at your hip, and that will mean you get more power and more strain in your glutes and hamstrings. An extra little tip with our B stance RDL is with that front leg when it's straight, if you want to get more contraction with your hips, try and focus on dragging your foot along the floor as you're driving your hip forwards. Exercise 2 is technically 2 exercises. It is a goblet squat. A goblet squat is similar to a front squat. As you can see here, I'm actually holding a dumbbell like a goblet up against my chest and keeping an upright position with my knees coming out to the side and trying to get my hips as low as I possibly can. But you can also hold a barbell in the same position. Just our elbows would be slightly higher and you have to keep your chest up a bit more. The change in shoulder position is all about our rib cage being able to keep nice and open. It's just as long as it's resting on your shoulders, you're all good. If you can't do that, hold your goblet squat. If you can't hold on to something, just do some squats, air squats, and trying to get low, focusing on the legs being the important part. Exercise number 3 is a Cosack squat. We want to have quite a wide base when we do our Cosack squat to be able to have a good stability and a lot of space to be able to move through a wide range of motion. With our wide base, we're going to be squatting down on one leg whilst keeping the other straight. This is going to both work our adductors in stabilizing as we come down, but also put a lot of weight into the bent leg. You can use a kettlebell to come down to the floor. You can also do this body weight, as you can see here as well. Alternate your hands and change which leg you're using as you're moving through. To make this really tough, you stay low. You don't come up in between each of your Cosack squats. You slide side to side. That takes a lot more hip mobility and it's a lot more difficult. So try the other ones first and build up to our staying low. Exercise number 4, everyone has done one of these at some point in their lives. It is a lunge. If you want to make it a little bit more difficult, we're also doing jumping lunges, which is more explosive. We do want to make sure that we have a right angle in our knees and hips, especially as we come down. We don't want to be too overstretched with our step, but we also don't want to be too close together that it's all bundled up. How to make it slightly tougher? Well, add in a jump. If we add in a jump, we're going to have to switch our feet quite rapidly to be able to be as explosive as possible, to be able to switch our feet quite quickly. So you need to use enough power to jump up into the sky, swap your legs over, and then land back down in your lunge. With our lunges, we are using our glutes, our hamstrings, our quadriceps. Also, we're going to be using our core to help stabilize. Our number 5 exercise, which isn't number 5 out of how good they are, they're just, ordered that way so you can keep track, are calve taps. Now, I don't know if you can Google that exercise because I don't know if that's really the name because I created it. It's just jumping from a plate to another plate. What we're doing is we've got some plates, we're going to be jumping off and then immediately back onto the same height. Now, what you can do with this is change the heights. You can make it lower, make it higher, but we want to think about what's actually working here. As we jump off of our plate and immediately spring to bounce back up into the same height, it has to be a really short period of time to be able to fully contract all of the muscle in our gastrocnemius and soleus to be able to help bounce us up onto the plate. But with these calve taps, I do feel like it's really important, especially if we're leading into wanting to keep our nice, sturdy, strong ankles so that we don't end up twisting them or spraining them later on. We've covered all of our leg exercises for today. Go and use them in a couple of workouts. But in the next video, we're going to be covering conditioning and core. And I'm also right at the end going to give you an example workout, how to actually use everything we've discussed and be able to create your own workout. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like so we know that you enjoy it. Subscribe so you can see the rest of the parts of these videos we release every Friday. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a good workout.